Men should be able to take a woman's last name when getting married and not get looked at weird for it. My sister is engaged and her fiancé last name is not so great, so he's going to take my sister's last name. I think it's awesome, but there are lots of people who have made snarky comments to them. I don't get the big deal here. I have an ex who is a really great guy. He married a very nice widow with young children. When they married, he took her name and adopted the children, so he, and any children they had together, would share the same last name. I've personally known several couples hyphenate both their names, and one that straight up made a new last name, actually worked out really well for all of them. My friend in college dated a girl briefly with the last name McCool, and we were both like, yeah, well, I mean, obviously you'd take her name. It wasn't even a question. Weber fucking Agnew. You took your wife's last name. Haha. Good ol' hot tub time machine. On the off chance I actually manage to marry in the future, I would probably take my wife's name so long as it's not super embarrassing. Mainly because I don't want to keep my family ties. I don't see anything wrong with the idea though. After all, it's just a name. This was common, done at least, among the British upper class when one prominent family's name would otherwise die out due to lack of male heirs, or just if one family wanted the prestige of the matriarchal line. That's how you end up with names like John Forrester Davenport or Edith Vanek Jones Smythe or some other name I just made up. It's called double-barreled naming. Winston Churchill was really Winston Spencer Churchill. Edit. Here is the Wikipedia page, https://en.m. Wikipedia.org/wiki/double-barreled_name. I know someone who did this. He had a terrible family. He ended up in a group home after his father killed his mother, and 9 of his relatives wanted to take him in. Eventually, he got his life together. He met the woman of his dreams and became incredibly close with her family. She was an only child, and he was like the son his future father-in-law never had. Their last name was going to die with him. So, this guy decided why the fuck would he keep a name he hated, and wanted to honor his new family. He took his wife's last name. I don't know if anyone gave him shit, but I imagine they'd STFU right quick if he told them the story. The one thing he did say was that it was about 100 times harder to take her name than it would have been for her to take his. All she'd have had to do would be to basically check a box, but he had to go to court more than once and file a bunch of paperwork. If you do change your name, make sure you have a copy of the court order or whatever you can keep with you in case you need to prove your identity following your name change. And they should not get mad if neither takes the other's name. My family was shocked when I told them I wouldn't take my husband's last name. I may hyphen. Like, I've had this name for my whole life, why would I want to lose it? Why is it that a guy's last name is more important? This is my identity and I choose to keep it. I have noticed weird life effects from changing your name. Not many of them good. Perhaps nobody should change their names. Then just give babies the last name of the opposite sex parent. Has anyone else noticed this, the subtle agony that follows a name change? I want to just add it on mine so I can collect all the letters in the alphabet. So my future soulmate needs to have Ktivkalks in their last name. PM me if you have all of them. I hope this get top rated because it's really unpopular. I work in finance. I cannot begin to explain how many things get fucked up that end up costing time and large amounts of money just because someone decided to get married or God forbid hyphenate her name. It's insane. Honestly, there should be no name changes. You're born with a name, that's what you got. If I lived in the US and married an American, I'd probably change my last name because while my last name is Portuguese and easy to pronounce and pleasant enough that it would be okay, I'd much rather get an Anglo-Saxon one for convenience. I 100% agree. It's legit the most pointless tradition that people get heated over. Hey, I mean, that's what Jack White did. I took my wife's last name. Few reasons, and as I age I'm actually a pretty traditional guy. I grew up without a father. He and his family are actual criminals, #1 most wanted in state, and also featured on national television. As fate would have it, I was named after him and grandfather, so named Paul Saratoga III. 3. As you can imagine, this gave me unwarranted legal troubles, being pulled over by police almost weekly, credit problems, being in court for something benign, jury duty, parking ticket, and offense towards me once as I have a clean record, where the judge finds a rap sheet with Paul Saratoga of Philadelphia 30 sheets long and exclaims, "It's you, but you must be older than 26. Me, no your honor, that is my father, and I've never met him, he's a deadbeat." And so on. This happened for years. On one occasion I been close to getting cuffed before I could provide ID and such. That's not me. Everyone later giggles, but it gets tiring. As a pre-teenager my mother changed my name to my stepfather's name. He was nearly as bad as my actual father, abusive and menacing. She has a type, I guess. I didn't want this, but I was not of legal age to dispute. I eventually returned to use of my birth name at 16, legal age, only as a matter of I could easily do so because I had a valid original social security card and birth certificate from birth. It's not like I could change my name to Paul Jackson just cause. My wife and her family are proud, accomplished and very venerable folk. It's an honor to have joined them. Her father, an actual quasi, non-famous, regional hero who has been honored for walking into a major national disaster while everyone else was running screaming, a big one, like a 9/11 but not 9/11. As for my feelings about possibly being emasculated and all that, well, I dunno, you have to not give a fuck. People can be basic. I also understand. It's happened once/twice. Once her people, once mine. It's come up BC. She is from an entirely different language and culture, and some of the boys in her country have indeed been like, "Aw, America man, take wife last name, disgrace your own family, not proud ma aeon." Which I always confronted head on and made them regret how foolish they were. Some debate yada yada about how it's foolish, and again my reasons coming from a strong dude that likes tradition. I got specific with wit, but don't really recall how I tore it down, but they were baffled and embarrassed, not me. I had one friend of 20 YRS who I had experienced so much with disown me, claiming, "I love you but you're not you anymore man." The women of her spot think it's hot. Essence is I literally don't give a fuck about any noise, zero fucks. I gotta be me, and it's great. Bonus, my perceived nationality is now mysterious in a preferable way. In an age when everyone cares, it's become beneficial. I've gotten jobs simply because of it, and been perceived better/differently. I didn't plan this, it's entirely only a bonus I hadn't even considered honestly. Names matter, that's why you see so many Hollywood and media/authors go for catchy pseudonyms that are simple, ambiguous/unambiguous and memorable. Where my now name isn't actually beneficial, it has definitely provided an air of he's not that, he's some exotic mix. Or so on. I'll be clear, it's also not a secret, I have big contracts, and once in a con call my contractor exclaimed, "Paul just got married, and he took his wife's name and changed to this now, so let's all know, take note." To which everyone was equally as excited/supportive. Again, completely unintended, but I've noticed good, again, many care, but not me, often not nearly as much. It's definitely not a hindrance though. The simple line is, my name was not only disgraceful, problematic, and sometimes legally disadvantageous, but further, I actually became accustomed to what I call not being tied to a name because of all the name changes throughout my life. I seem to have put very little attachment to my name by my life experience. I sure as hell don't want that birth name to be passed on, I wouldn't ever even dare give it to a wife, and I'd be proud to pass on the wife's name when we have kids, next year. Historically, as some have noted, it's also not nearly as rare as people think, rare but not unheard of. It's happened fairly often at that.